Hey everyone, Wes here, and I'm back again with another Scratch lesson for you. Sorry there's been such a big gap between Lesson 1 and Lesson 2. I had hoped to bring these to you much sooner than before, but hopefully, these will start coming at a consistent weekly, bi-weekly basis. So stay tuned for more of them. Anyway, on with the lesson. So this is Lesson 2, and this is Ghostbusters. So in this project, we're going to create a game. It's a bit like Whack-A-Mole. So if you've seen those kind of games, maybe at the arcades, where things pop up and you have to hit them when they pop up, but you have to hit the right things. So very much a game this time, and the aim is to get as many points as possible in 30 seconds. So let's show you how to make Ghostbusters. Okay. So we need a new Scratch project, which we've got here. Go to the Scratch website, scratch.mit.edu. Make sure you've got an account there, and then you can save all of your work. Create a new project. And we don't need our old friend Felix here, so we're going to get rid of him and delete him. We don't need that, but we do need a background, and we want something interesting for our ghostly Ghostbusters game. So if we go into the stage backdrop down here, we're going to add a backdrop from our library. We maybe want something creepy, spooky, so we go for some kind of spooky woodland. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. The wood's down here. Pick that one. Click OK. So there we got our background. We want a ghost sprite within this background, so we need to add a new sprite. Sprites are down here, remember. Choose a new sprite from our library. I'm going to go with a ghost. So we'll go with ghost 1. Add that in. And there we've got our first sprite. We can place him wherever we want. Stick him in the middle there. So we've got our ghost. Now, we want to make our ghost move around. So in order to do that, we're going to give him a variable called speed that controls how quickly he moves around. So to add a variable, you go into the data section of the script. And remember, make sure you have your sprite selected, not your background. This is for your sprite. So we're going to add this variable. And do you make a variable? Call it speed. And we're going to make that for this sprite only. Okay, so we have variable called speed. We're going to untick the checkbox here because we don't need that visible on our background. You notice if you tick that checkbox, it appears up here. We don't need to see the ghost speed, but we've got that variable now. So as we've spoken before, variables are a bit like a little bucket, and our bucket is called speed, and we're going to fill it with a value. This is probably going to be a number that controls how fast our ghost moves. So we are now going to add in a bit more code, and this will show you how that control works. So for our sprite, we need the starting event up here, and that's in the events section, this start flag event. And then we want to control the speed. We want to set a value for speed. So in our data section, we have options for manipulating our variable. So doing different things to it, changing it. So we can take that piece, connect it here. Now if you had more variables, they'd appear here, but we've just got the one, speed. And we can set a number. So we're going to set speed to 5. And you can see by playing around with that number later, just how far and how fast that affects your ghost. So now we need a little loop. So if we go into control, we should be able to find the forever loop. Pick that up here, attach it there. But now we need to tell it to move. So in the sensing section, in the motion section, get these blue colors mixed up. In the motion section, we control how our sprite moves. We're going to keep it very simple. We're going to just have him moving steps. So I'll pick that up and put it into our forever loop. Now, if we left that like that, he would move 10 steps continuously forever, but we want more control over his speed. And because we've got a variable, we can replace this number in the middle here with the variable. Remember, the variable speed, which we pop in there, we've set to a number. So rather than there being 10 in here, we've got 5 because speed is 5. So we say move 5 steps. And we're going to move those 5 steps forever and a day. And if we were to run this now, you'd see he's just going to go and he's going to hit the edge of the screen and not go any further. But he's moving. So we set him over here, kick him off. There we go. That's what it looks like to move 5 steps continuously. Now, if we took it out of the loop, you'll see, just pop that in there. We can leave the loop because it's not going to do anything. You'll see how much 5 steps is. That's how much 5 steps is. Every time we click the start button, that's 5 steps. But because we've put it in the loop, it's continuously moving that amount without me having to click a button. Now, if we change the speed value up here, set it to 10 as it was before in this move block, you'll see him move quicker. Lightning. And the bigger that number, the faster he moves. So we're going to set it back to 5. Okay. Now, we've got a ghost. What do we want to do now? We want to stop him getting stuck on the edge of the screen. We want him to move around all the time. So we can do that by saying if he hits the edge of the screen, bounce. That basically means if you hit that side, flip around, come back. So that's, again, in the motion section, I think. Yeah. We've got a block called if on edge, bounce. So if we pop that in our forever loop, what's going to happen now? He's going to move towards the edge of the screen, hit it, then he'll turn around, move back the other way, hit it, and keep going backwards and forwards. And let's test that. So off he goes. Now, we've got a problem because he's turning upside down. We don't really want him to turn upside down, so we've got to stop that. So wait till he turns back the other way. Stop our script. Now, if we go into our sprite down here, see this little blue corner with the eye icon? Click on that. And then we can control what happens to his rotation. So when he does things like bouncing, he's rotating. So we want to stop him from spinning around in any way, and we want him to flip in another direction. So let's just click on that little double-ended arrow and run it again. Hopefully, there we go. See, no longer flipping, just coming backwards and forwards. Well, he's flipping, but not upside down. Okay, we can stop our script there. We need to add some other bits. So, what do we want to do now? Well, for Whack-A-Mole, our characters tend to disappear and appear. And at the minute, our ghost doesn't do that. He's always visible. So we're going to try and make him hide. Now, to do that, we need to add another script for the ghost. And that's okay, because we can have multiple scripts on the ghost. Everything occurs when we click this green flag at the moment. So we're going to add another one of those. And another forever loop. Remember, these are in the events and the control section. Once we've got that forever loop, we want to tell our ghost to continuously appear and disappear. Appear and disappear. As he's visible to start with, the first thing we need to tell him to do is hide. So if we look in the looks section, and that controls his appearance, we can tell him to hide. So that's the first thing. So if we were to click play now, he'd just disappear and he would never come back. So if we had a block for showing, then he should disappear and appear, disappear and appear. Now it might happen a bit too quick though. Let's have a look. It's happening so fast that you can't actually see it on the screen. At least that's my excuse. Yeah, no, it actually is. Because those two things are in a loop with no time control within that loop, then the sprite disappears and appears so quickly that you can't actually see it. So we need to slow that loop down a little and slow the transitions between appearance and disappearance down. So what we'll do is we'll add a control event called wait. So if we stick that in the middle, between hiding and becoming visible, he will wait 1 second. So we should be able to see it. But we also want to do the same between showing. Now, because this is a loop, we go around it every time. So we want to wait before we come back to the top and hide again as well. So let's run that. Hopefully, we'll see it. There we go. Every 1 second, he's disappearing and appearing. Now, if you're a really skilled gamer, or even if you're not, you can probably count that and work out exactly when he's going to appear and click on him. And that's no fun. So what we want to do is we want to kind of randomize it, make it so you don't know when he's going to appear. Now, we can do that by changing this time from 1 to another number. Now, we could just set it to a number, but again, you'd get used to when he was appearing and when he wasn't, and you could work it out. So we, as I said, we want to randomize it. Now, if we go into our operators section, you've got a random number generator block. And this is pick random 1 to 10. Now, we don't quite want numbers that big, but that is the block we want. We can stick that into our wait block. Let's do another one down here. I'll change these numbers. So we're going to make it 2 and 5. And in this one, 3. And not 3 and 3, 3 and 5. Okay. So if we stop now, you'll see the times between him appearing. Oh, he's gone. Come back. Oh, here we go. See, that was a long one. That was probably about 5 seconds. Some of it will be quick. Some of it will be slow. But there we go. Now randomly appearing and disappearing. So now we don't really know where he's going to appear. Now, if this is going to be a game and you're playing whack-a-mole, imagine that physical arcade game where the things are popping up and you've got the big mallets to hit them with. When you hit them, they go down, they disappear. So we kind of want the same thing to happen with our ghost. We want him to disappear when we click on him. So we need to add some more control code in. So the event we need to react to is when the sprite is clicked. So you see our main control at the moment is when green flag is clicked. We're going to add another one in that controls the sprite directly. So when this sprite is clicked, we're going to do something. What are we going to do? We're going to hide him. So if we go into looks and we can find our hide block, stick that there, he's going to hide every time we click on him. Let's test it. Okay, he's gone away. Where's he going to come? Bingo! Clicked on him. Disappeared. Where's he going to go? Let's come back. Is he going to come back? There he is. Got him. Brilliant. Okay. So that works. Magic. But it'd be quite nice if something else happened when we clicked on him. How about if we played some music or a sound or something? So in our sound section, we can pick up some sounds to play. So if we pick that one up, so when we click on the sprite, now he's going to hide and it's also going to play a sound. And we got various options. We could record one, or we can just play a generic sound. And there's a few selections of sounds somewhere. I'm trying to work out how you get to them. Okay, so in the sound section here, you can load up a sound. And we can pick various sounds we could play when he disappears. I'm going to go with fairy dust. Don't know why. Mainly because the lesson tells you to. But you can pick anything. We can get rid of pop. So now, in this little menu here, we have fairy dust. Now, I don't think you're going to hear this sound when I play it, because I don't think my recorder's picking it up. But it might do. You maybe heard that in the background? Let's see if I can bump the volume up here. Whoop. And maybe you'll hear it this time. Hopefully you heard a little bit of fairy dust there. So, now when we click, not only does he hide, he plays a sound too. And you can do anything. You could record your own sound. Shall I see? Shall I try that? Should we try recording our own sound? So here we go, microphone. Oh, here we go. So record here. Oh, oh, oh. I've got to give it access first. Right, okay. Is that recording? No. Record. Oh, ha, ha. Doesn't seem to be recording. I don't know why it's not recording. I gave it access to my microphone. It's not recording though. Okay, anyway, that's how you do it. Record yourself sound. Just doing something silly like I was doing there. And then you can use it. Oh, here we go. There's a little thing at the top which I didn't notice because I'm old and my eyesight's going. Let's record another one then. Try that. Oh, that's very loud, isn't it? It's all this going off the scale here. If I come away from the microphone a bit, hold on. Let's try that again. Record another one. Still going off, and I'm trying to be quiet. Let's play that back. Well, it's recorded it. You can use that if you want. Recording one. So if we play it now and we click it back, come on, up here. There you go. So you can make your own sounds. All sorts of things. You can have it blowing raspberries. Doesn't really matter. Anything you like. I'm going to go back to fairy dust though, because I'm boring. And I really don't like the sound of my own voice. Honest. Okay. Now, what else do we need to do when we click on him? Well, this is a game, so it'd be great to score some points. And at the moment, we're not. So, we want to score points. We need a score variable that can store our score. So, first up, we're going to go to the stage. So, down here, we're going to click on our stage. Now, it's important to note that this is a stage variable, not a sprite variable, because the score is it's a overarching thing. It exists outside of the sprites. It's a whole game variable. So we're going to create a new variable. We're going to call it score, and that's for all sprites. And you can see that in the top corner. Now, what we need to do next is make sure that that score changes when we click on our sprite. So we're going to go back to our sprite, and we're going to have a bit of control code, I think. Is it control code or data code? Data code, sorry. Wrong area. So in the data section, you've got change. So we add that at the bottom of our block here, and we're going to say change score by 1. So when we run now, not only will we get the sign, not only will the ghost disappear, but our score will go up, and we can move this, position that up there. Bingo. There we go. Okay. We could also do with that being reset at some point, but we'll look at that in a moment. Now, when you play an arcade game and you've put your money in, you only get a set amount of time to play. It doesn't run forever. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some control in that gives us a set amount of time to play, and we'll reset the score and put game over stuff up on the screen and all that kind of thing. Now, this is going to be done on the stage rather than the sprite, because we're controlling the whole game, not just the sprite now. So we select our stage, and we need some event code here. So when the green flag starts, that's when we want to set and start our timer. So we need a variable that holds our time. So we're going to make a new variable for all sprites, and we're going to call it timer. Okay. Now, we could show or not. It's entirely up to you whether you want to show that to the player, but you could hide it so they don't know when their game's going to end and they're like, ah! Or you could show them the time, and then when it's clicking down to like the last few seconds, like, ah! In either case, they're pretty much going, ah! So, now I've finished being a fool. We're going to set our timer. I'm going to set it to 30, because setting it to 0 wouldn't be very fair. No one would get any time to play. So we'll start at 30, and we're going to set our score to 0 as well, because at the start of a game, you don't want any score on the board. We need to change that in there to score. So we've set our variables at the start of our game. So if I click green flag, you'll see them reset to 0 and 30. Perfect. Now what I want to do is reduce that timer. I want it to go down every second. So what we're going to do is we're going to put in a repeat loop. And because we're going to use a repeat loop rather than a forever loop for a specific reason, a repeat loop will continue until something happens. And in this case, we want it to continue until the time has run out, so until the time is 0. So if we put our repeat loop in there, we can then pick up our timer and we can pop that. Oh, actually, no, we don't want to pop it directly in there. We want to check it equal to 0. So we pull our little equals block from our operators section, place that down, go to the data, grab your timer, drop it in the first section, and then we can say timer equals 0. Now we're not setting timer to 0 because we're going to place that whole block in there. And what that does is it says repeat whatever's in this loop until the timer equals 0. But at the moment, we're not doing anything to reduce our timer. So within the loop, we're going to control knocking the time down by 1 every second. So the first thing we need is our wait. So if we go into... Where's the wait? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm blind. So in the control section, you've got to wait. And that's going to wait for 1 second, which is perfect. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to change our timer. Now, you think, okay, so we're changing timer by 1. That means it's going to go up. We want it to go down. So we need to take 1 off. So if we put a little minus in front of the number 1, we can say every 1 second take 1 off the timer, which means we're effectively counting 30 seconds. And when we get to the end, we need to make sure the game finishes. The sprites stop moving, stop hiding, the timer stops, everything stops. And in the control section, there's a magic little block called stop all. You'll notice you can't attach anything to the bottom of it. That's because that stops everything. Games, sprites, variables, anything going off, that stops it. So if you ever hit that, everything will stop. So let's run our game. Okay, let's run our game. Something's not working. What's not working? This is not allowed to happen. Okay, where's my sprite? My sprite is there. I've got green flags. This is where my experience as a tester should come in. I set my timer, set my score. That should go down. Oh, what's going on? My timer equals 0. Timer set to 30. I will be back in a moment after I've debugged this program. Right, I'm back. I have worked out what the problem is. Instead of using the repeat until loop, I've used the repeat loop. Silly me. So what I need to do is I need to take this piece out. You see there's a repeat loop and a repeat until. And the repeat will repeat that many times. The repeat until will repeat until a condition is true. So we're going to take that piece out of there and plug it in there. Pull those bits out of there. And then drop the stop on. Silly me. Right, okay. Let's stop our script and run it. And there you can see the timer is going down once every second. The score is going up when I click. The sound plays. And come back, Ghost, so I can zap you again. Got him. My score goes up, my time goes down. Last 10 seconds, hopefully everything will stop when the timer hits 0. So here we go. Bingo! Sprite stops, timer stops, score can't do it. Ooh! Afterwards, you can put the score up. That's a bit cheaty, isn't it? So we might want to look at fixing that at some point so that you can't score an extra one at the end. Okay, now we're getting our score. That's pretty much the game. What we don't have, though, is lots of ghosts. So that'd be kind of cool. So we can expand this to have extra ghosts. We can expand it to make sure you can't get that extra score at the end of the game. And let's see about adding another ghost. That's dead easy to do. All you've got to do, right-click on your ghost here. duplicate, and if you click on the ghost and go to the script settings, you'll see he has all of the same code as the original ghost. And they're in different places on the screen. So if you were to run your game now, you'll see 2, and they should come up at different times because everything's random, you see? So you'll see they appear and disappear at different times. And clicking on either of them should put your score up. See? And when they come back, oh, you've got to be careful to not drag a sprite when you click on it. There you go. And the game's going to end in a minute. There we go. And because they're all invisible, I can't click on them and get score, which is good. But what you want to do when you get to the end of the game is you really want to hide all your sprites, because that way nobody can click on them and get extra score points. And you could do that by broadcasting a message. That's one way of doing it, and we'll look at how to broadcast message in some later lessons. You could do it by clearing the screen and putting up a new screen with your final score. Loads of different things you could do. Of course, you can add extra ghosts. You can make them different speeds. You can make them smaller, bigger. Loads of different things you can do to customize this project. And of course, it doesn't have to be ghosts. It could be bugs. It could be anything. So have a go yourself. See how you get on. This project will be available online for you to look at the code, to play around with yourself. And the link will be in the notes underneath this video. Obviously, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more of the lessons. But leave me comments. If you get stuck, you've got problems, I can answer through comments. Or you can drop me an email to codeclubmk@gmail.com. And I can answer your questions through there. I'm happy to do that. And of course, if you need the notes on how to make this Scratch project, you can find them in a link that again will be shown in the description underneath this video. So that's everything for today. Lesson 3 will be coming very soon, I promise. And I know I promised last time, but I'm doubly promising this time. So stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this Scratch lesson. There's more coming.